I'm going to pull up Maria's presentation and bring her on stage. This is one of the things that I look forward to. I said, Maria, do HR. She was like, no, 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 human capital. And I was like, what's the difference? And so we get the opportunity to hear more about Maria's unique perspective on the people of the business, which in most instances is the most valuable resource that folks have in their company. So Maria, I will get out of the way. I'm so excited to hear about the big three people challenges that you face when you're going through your exit.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be here. We are over 2 decades in working on the people side of business readiness, readiness for growth, and readiness for exit. And truly, they should be one and the same process. But a lot of times for owners, it's not. And so we're going to talk about a major piece today of the transferable value that David's referring to, and that is the workforce. And your workforce is a very important part of the health examination of your business and something that buyers or potential buyers are really going to look at. So, at first glance, when we look under the hood of a business, owners are really a little finicky about what is there and what might be discovered. And so, we want to talk today about the things that we find almost 100% of the time. And that's what these big three people challenges is going to show you today. Three things we always run into on the readiness for sale about the people in your business that make a very big difference in the value. So the first one of the three is alignment. And it's funny when we think about owners, we know that it's easier to trust people just like you because you understand them. And when you understand them, you can trust them a little more to get things done next to you or lead next to you because you get how they think and how they do, how they're going to get work done. So the first issue with alignment is really around too much of a good thing. It's really around great camaraderie when owners try to build teams with skills and experience and motivation that's just like yours. It's going to be a setback because you're going to feel great. You're going to have great camaraderie, but you have no synergy of performance. And that's our focus. When we look under the hood of your business, we're looking at how people are aligned with roles, how well they're aligned, what synergies are there to really keep that business in good health and help really engage innovation and the ability to continue scaling. So when you get too much of a good thing, you've got this sort of blind ambition. You've got this thing that happens when owners and their key team members are too much alike. And so, as I said, feels good, looks good, we're great, but we're not moving the needle on where we need to go. And so we get misaligned in our efforts. Even when you match your strengths with the strengths of others, they're different human beings. They'll interpret goals differently. And really importantly is they're going to get things done differently. And we've got to find out what's going on as soon as we can to really strengthen the workforce. So alignment is a value driver. When you're in good alignment, a potential buyer can see that. They see it because they understand that knowledge and skills and experience and the natural method of operation are getting things done and the personal motivations of their team are balanced. There's good alignment. People are doing the work they should be doing. And so there's a balance of problem solving and innovation and creativity that are very important in making sure you have a healthy workforce. So ask yourself, if thinking about the first challenge, are you cloning yourself? Are you really repeating your own strengths in your business? But think about your personal sweet spot. Are you working in your personal sweet spot? And does your team have the freedom to work in theirs? Something to think about as you think about your workforce. The next challenge is hiring. This one could be a topic in and of itself, but we're gonna give you as much as we can here in the time frame that we have. But really hiring is knowing your hiring habits. How is it that you're hiring people or have been hiring people in 20, 30, sometimes 40 years of being in your business? I want to point out a couple of things with hiring that might be helpful for you today. One is, are you hiring or have you been hiring a staff? A staff is a team of people that responds to the workload that you create as owners, and they assist you in meeting your goals. The goals for growth and scale of the company belong to you as the owner. They're focused on the responsibilities of a job description. That's their go-to document to really understand what they're responsible for. And then they manage their time and energy according to, let's call it daily, weekly tasks, but mostly because they're a supporter of your business vision. They want to do good things, do good work as a supporter to you as the owner, a staff. I'm very careful about that word, and we're opposed to that word, and I'll show you why. The other way you should be hiring or building your workforce is by hiring a team, more forward thinking, not so much today and needs based, but really thinking about where is my company going, what I want to hire. A team plans their own workload according to shared business development goals. So it's not your goal as an owner, it's everybody's goal. These are shared goals, and they are stakeholders in meeting those goals. They're focused on their unique strengths to drive their best performance and their best outcomes. And they manage their time and energy according to a personal role as a contributor to your shared growth goals. I hope you can see how very different this is. These are stakeholders. A team is made up of people who have the freedom to apply their strengths as stakeholders in the business, stakeholders in making sure that you are growing together cohesively. I think if you've seen the two definitions I'm giving you, you're going to want a team and not staff. So think about what you're calling your workforce. If you're calling them your staff, then they are your supporters. If you're calling them your team or teams, then they're people who are stakeholders in the growth of your company. And I want to show you a couple of things because staff and teams are also very obvious this way when we examine business workforce. The staff is really interested in what's being done, let's call it today in the present. My paycheck, my job satisfaction, my relationship with my boss, my weaknesses that may need to be strengthened, my current job. Very different when we cross over and start to hire teams. They're interested in the purpose of their role. What is my purpose here? What purpose do I serve in this role? What is my personal development going to look like? This is what we call career pathing. Well, I don't necessarily want to look to my boss as a boss, but maybe a coach or a mentor. And I'm looking not just at annual reviews. I want to talk at a more 360 level. I want to talk as certainly quarterly with my boss or my supervisors to make sure that we're still aligned well. And I want to talk about strengths, not weaknesses. And I'll tell you one thing we know of many, many years of assessing teams is that if you try to strengthen a weakness, it's a very short-term result. If you've ever done this work yourself and tried to do things differently than you would do if you were working according to your real personal strengths, your innate ability to get things done well, they don't last. Strengths last. Strengths are what we want to align and make sure that people are engaged in. And then it's not just your job day to day. And as I said, a paycheck and the satisfaction of that day to day work, it's your whole life. People today, especially on teams, want balance of their work and their life. And they want to know that they are fulfilling a purpose in their company and doing their best work. Also, think about this. Gallup is a tremendous resource for polling our employees around the world and certainly around in the US. But I want you to think about this. Employees are consumers of the workplace today. They truly are. This is a very different environment. The number one reason that people change jobs is career growth. We've seen this. We saw this in a really significant way after COVID. Companies were dangling increases that paying more to people, and people were jumping from job to job to job because they could make more money, and they were remote, and the whole world was changing right before our eyes. But really, when we think about it, and it is not a particular generation, I think millennials get a bad rap when it comes to this data, because really everybody wants career growth. They want to know that they're fulfilling a purpose, as I said, and that there's opportunities to do more than just day-to-day responsibilities. 12% of employees strongly agree that their organization does a great job of onboarding. We happen to be an onboarding concierge. We spend a lot of our time on onboarding because onboarding is not just at the point of hiring, it's an actual live document that follows an employee all the way through their career development. And 12% is a very low number of employees that really feel like their companies are doing a good job. We implement this work in all of our client relationships. 2 in 10 employees strongly agree that their performance is managed in a way that motivates them to do outstanding work. That's the difference between staff and team. So if you walk away today with any one takeaway, it would be don't hire a staff, hire teams. Identify, define what your team stakeholders really need to be. And this is the way we strengthen a workforce. And this is the way we impress at the point of selling your business the potential buyers. Obstacles to value acceleration on the people side, 68% of employees are actively disengaged. Again, if you're building teams, if your workforce is made up of people who are stakeholders and who are well aligned in doing their best work, this number is greatly reduced. Today, 68% are actively disengaged because they're functioning as staff. They're functioning as job holders. So ask yourself about your hiring habits. Think about, do you have a staff or do you have a team? You can fix this if you were weighted more on the staff side by just identifying what a team really means in your company. Is your company top down and owner dependent? Are you hiring supporters that support you as an owner and keep your company very dependent on your abilities? Things you want to change if that's what you've been building. So thinking about your hiring habits as they relate to regret proofing a sale and getting ready for buyers to look under the hood. The third challenge is managing growth alone. One of the things we change a lot is top-down traditional hierarchies in companies. We flatten out that hierarchy so that we can engage growth across the workforce and not just manage it at the top level. Let's think about that. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a barcode over all of your employees? You could just sort of like know in an instant how to decode your biggest asset. What is their value? What are they really bringing? The trouble there, when we don't know, is that it takes a long time to find out what a person is really bringing to the table. What are their real full scope of their strengths? And so we have a lot of methodology around shortening that path so that we can show you data that really decodes that asset. Your biggest asset, your most competitive advantage is your team. And so we want you to know as much as you can about your team as fast as you can know it so that you can make sure that you're not top down in your approach to growth because it really limits your potential. So in decoding, let's think about how we do this, building value faster, because we're really considering the full scope of human abilities toward growth. When you consider the full scope, you're not just looking at experience and knowledge, you're also looking at their motivations, where they are in the personal desire to do well and to commit to their role in your company. And also, what is their real instinctive method of getting things done so we can make sure that they're working in accordance with that method and not against the grain, where they're going to be slower and less effective. So what we look at in the full scope of human abilities is validating the human strengths and aligning them with roles. So we're looking at org charts all week long. And when we look at org charts, we're looking at alignment about not only owner roles, but team roles. Every human being in your workforce has a space where they can lend great value to the growth and continuity of your company. So we want to look at the full scope of their strengths and make sure they're aligned with the role that makes sense for them and they can do their best work. Integrating those strengths into the growth plan. When we look at strategic growth, we don't just look at financial strategies and the financial health of the company. We're also looking at what are the strengths that we're going to integrate to really move the needle, as I said, on growth and scale. And we have to do that by arranging efficient team collaborations. We have to do that by developing leadership in all roles. We have to do that by connecting everyone to shared growth goals. And we have to do that by staying connected. So 360 feedback in motion for our companies. So all of these will help you build value faster. Onboarding, as I said, is we are onboarding concierge. We spend a lot of our time on onboarding, reboarding, and making sure that all career paths are very clear in our for our client teams. These are some of the things that I want to just touch on. There's a lot to an onboarding plan in our company, but we want to make sure that when you think about hiring, that people are productive from day one. And when you think about career pathing, that people are productive throughout their tenure at your company. Couple of things that are really important is who's who on the team, who does what, and who do you collaborate with? And how often do you have reviews and team meetings? And a visual of your role so that you can see how your responsibilities manifest and you can make sure that you're really engaging your strengths and your 90-day training plan. If you're new to a company, you've got to have that 90-day training plan. The 90-day training plan puts into practice learning and practicing and proactive self-management within 90 days so that every person, new person on the team, understands how they can do their best work and they get it in motion from day one. Role mapping is an essential tool for growth. Role map is in every onboarding plan. It's also where we start when we look under the hood at businesses and we start to look at what this company is made up of. How strong is the workforce? We're looking very quickly at how are these roles identified. And 100% of the time we're going in and spending time with the employees and making sure that we're mapping the roles. So we're taking it apart and having conversations with them about the purpose of their role and their primary responsibilities and their primary collaborators and what's important about learning, what's the ongoing learning process. If there isn't one, we're going to identify it. And KPIs are requirements for success in that role. So they get as I said, a true visual of how to map out growth from their perspective and their role as a contributor. In this onboarding, as I said, it's not just for new hires, it's for existing teams as well. And we call that reboarding and career pathing. And so we make sure that there's a very healthy workforce plan in growing and scaling this business so that when buyers look in, they're seeing a very strong workforce. They want to inherit a workforce that knows what they're doing, that has a very strong position in the company. And so we do that going in right away, strengthening that workforce roles and mapping. Couple of things you need to know: barriers to workforce growth. If you've got issues in any one of these top tier areas, like performance management systems are old, maybe they're not efficient anymore, and your people are struggling with using, let's say, data software. People are hyper connected today. So if you've got outdated software and they can't be connected the way they need to be across various software, it's going to be a problem for your workforce. Demographic shifts and cultural shifts, but we want to be truly diverse in our cultures, in our workforce. And so demographic shifts we're in a place right now where we're truly managing 5 different generations of employees. And that means while we're doing onboarding, while we're career pathing, while we're getting them ready for growth and scale, we also have to understand that our backgrounds and our experiences in our careers are very, very different. So we have to merge those backgrounds, those viewpoints, and really create workforce teams that can truly work together in a positive way. The grass is greener. People are leaving jobs all the time today. And it's not just millennials. It is across the board because it's not just money. It is because, and primarily, it's because their opportunities are reduced in a company. They just don't see it. They can't become a true contributor. And so they're looking for other ways that they can do this. And they also, where they want work-life balance more. And again, that's not a millennial thing. That's an everybody thing. That's every generation, because we are in a gig economy. We are working remotely. We are working in a way that is causing us to self-manage to some degree. And it's making it harder to make those connections in companies that don't give a lot of attention to remote relationships. Failed onboarding is a big one. We run into it all the time. So if you have not done onboarding, if you've done bits and pieces of onboarding, but you haven't really paid attention to this, I highly recommend reboarding your workforce and giving them the exciting opportunity to really see where they fit into the growth and scale of the company. Trending right now, people are changing jobs for flex time. As I said, it's not just money. It's because they want more balance in their work and life. And people are matrixed. They're reporting to many different supervisors often, and they are remote. So we have a very different relationship structure, infrastructure on our hands here. And people want to feel like they've been onboarded, especially if they're new. They want to be productive from day one. It's a known thing today, and everybody wants it. So ask yourself, are you experiencing a high level of turnover? Are you experiencing people that, if you're having exit interviews, and I certainly hope you are, especially if you have a high level of turnover, let's make sure that we understand why people are leaving, because there are a lot of things that we can fix in this process. At the point of a business transition, when buyers are looking at your company, they're not just looking at the financial health, they're also looking at the health of your workforce. So today, I hope I've given you three points of consideration that will help you build a people-powered company, one that will help you grow and scale and also exit on your own terms. David shared some information. I've got it all for you right here. We're happy to have a complimentary discovery conversation. You can get a hold of either one of us, whichever one of us said some things that you feel like you need to talk about. Today, we're happy to talk with you. Our information is right here on the screen.
Maria, such a fabulous job. David, I'm going to bring you back up too, just so we can wrap it up together. So almost the pictures line up like almost perfectly with the way the slides lay out. So Maria, I don't know if we could have planned that any better, but Maria's on top, David's on bottom there. So I think the thing that I'm most curious about is what is the problem, or what would people be struggling with that would cause them to reach out? I know we're a little bit over the time that we planned, but if we could just take a couple of minutes and just say, hey, if you're dealing with this and this, you should call me because I can help you get through that pretty quickly.
I can tell you just from our side, it's owner burnout. They're struggling with the full load of their company on their shoulders. So if we can start to understand the workforce better and begin to make it less dependent on the owner, oftentimes we find they think they're ready to go. I've got to sell. I can't do this anymore. And then when we strengthen the workforce and enable leadership around them, enable people to do their best work, they feel better. And sometimes, a lot of times we hear them say, well, I'm okay now. I'm okay for a little bit. I can hang out a little bit longer, because they were able to take a breath, and they want to have a role in helping their company grow. They just don't want the weight of every decision and every aspect of the company on their shoulders.
Yeah, and I would add, Jerome, certainly these days, especially when the economy is very crazy, I don't know any business owner that hasn't gotten a phone call saying, hey, do you want to sell your business? So that's one specific trigger. If they've not been planning or doing much and they get that call and they're not sure where to go, happy to have that conversation, give them some guidance there. Or it may be that whatever it is, they woke up this morning and, it's time, or I need to really get going. It could be that. It could be finally be something where there's a big, I'll say, crisis or a big problem in the business, and it's overwhelming, and they just can't see their way out of it. And we can come in and help them think through it, again, in the context and in the framework of eventually getting out, getting the company ready to sell. So, like I say, it may be that they've gotten offered to buy. It may just be that they've decided they need to understand how they get out at this point.
Man,
Wow.
thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any closing thoughts for the folks that might be out there in LinkedIn land?
I would say get started and think about it. Don't put it off. Start today.
Don't wait. Take a look at under the hood of your business and really see what's there. Don't be afraid to share it.
Wow. Okay. So with that, guys, we are going to sign off. We'll be doing another one of these next month, and a month after that, and a month after that. And you'll see this content showing up in our various feeds as well. So thank you again for joining us LinkedIn Live. Signing off for me, Maria, and David.